Morning, everybody. Today we're looking at ordinary level club accounts and we're going to do the 2022 100 mark club account question. So, just to review the question before we make a start, the way the question is laid out is quite important. So, the top section of the club account, so above the receipts and payments, gives us all the information from the start of the year. So please write over here on the left in your papers, start of year. Middle section here, the receipts and payments account. This gives us the story of the club for during the year. So we'll write during the year over here on the left. It shows us all the money that came in on the debit side. So bar sales, subscriptions, the biggest income for the club, all coming in on the left, and all the money going out on the right hand side, on the credit side, the payments. So bar purchases, buying equipment, general expenses, insurance, all that good stuff. So just like a cash book, money in on the left, on the debit, money out on the credit. So this is our during the year section. So please write that over here on the left. And down the bottom end here, they have the end of the year section. So they're telling us all the information that we need for the end of the year. The closing stock, the creditors, the expenses prepaid, the subscriptions, which is income prepaid, and our depreciation. So all the information that we need for our questions. There are several sections. So A to E is what we're required to perform. Part A is the statement of accumulated fund at the start of the year. So it's up here because the start of year information is up the top here. 20 out of your 100 marks for doing your assets and liabilities at the start of the year. Part B, 8 marks for doing the bar trading account. So this club is a boat house. Okay, so it's a boat club. So they'll have boats and yachts and things like that. That is their core, the core reason for the club. So the bar is like a side gig. So we have to do a bar trading account to calculate bar profit to put into our income and expenditure account because it's not the core business of the club. So we do that, 8 little marks, nice and easy. And we're going to calculate a bar profit number, which we're going to put immediately into the income and expenditure account. So the income and expenditure account for a club is the same as a profit and loss account for a business. Clubs are not for profit organizations, so we can't use the word profit. Excuse me. So income and expenditure in your own little head, though, be thinking about it, it's the same as a profit and loss or P&L account. 34 marks, that's where the bulk of our marks are going to be. We're going to perform a number of adjustments to be able to get those marks in the income and expenditure. Then part D, balance sheet, 30 marks. We're going to be excellent at our layout. Once you know your layout, your balance sheet is really easy. I want you to really practice your layout by doing skeletons, just blank layouts with no numbers, just put X's in instead of numbers until you get really quick and you know how to lay it out. And part E, we're going to do a little bit of theory about the difference between an income and expenditure account and the balance, the final number in the income and expenditure, and the balance in the receipts and payments account. And we'll have a little chat about that at the end. So it's a 100-mark question. So let's crack on and let's get through the different steps one by one. Break it down, get really good at the accumulated fund, then go to the next step, get really good at the trading account or the bar trading account, then get really good at the income and expenditure and the adjustments, then get really good at the balance sheet. So we're going to start with statement of accumulated fund. So that is the list of assets and liabilities at the start of the year. Okay, so we need to be very good at this. You need to be very clear on what are your assets, what are liabilities. So this first box over here on the right in column L gives us the information about the assets in green and grey, and then the liabilities in red and grey. So assets are items that I own. I own them and they're under different categories. So fixed assets, I own them. I'm going to own them for a long time. They're generally high in value. So buildings, vehicles, equipment, The boathouse here, if it was tennis club, it would be the clubhouse, golf club, etc., to be the clubhouse. Equipment, fixtures, and fittings. So big things, I'm going to own them for a long time. Current assets, I want every single person on this call or on this meeting to learn your current assets in this order and always put them in this order. That will ensure that you don't forget anything. So we're going closing stock, debtors, cash and bank, expenses prepaid, and income due. Expenses prepaid example would be insurance prepaid, and not wages prepaid, but advertising prepaid, anything like that. And income due in a club account is generally going to be subscriptions that are due. We would often might have subscriptions for a gym or something like that that might be due. In a club account, it would be subscriptions that are due or owing. Then we have our financial assets. These are typically investments where I'm investing my club money and I'm trying to get interest on it as a source of income. But my investment itself is a financial asset. Intangible assets, which we won't have at ordinary level, but we may as well have them on our full list, is goodwill and patents. And we'll be talking about them in other parts of the course. They won't be here in ordinary level club. They will be there at higher level club. Then we move down to our liabilities. What is a liability? So liabilities are things that I owe. So I owe people money. Our current ones are things that I owe and they're going to be repaid in less than a year. So I've got creditors, the people I owe money to, bank overdraft, the money I owe to the bank, expenses due. So if my insurance is due, if I've got wages due, they would be here. And income prepaid. So if I have subscriptions prepaid, which you would often have in a club, subscriptions prepaid would be income prepaid. That goes here. Learn your list of 4, guys. Creditors, bank overdraft, expenses due, and income prepaid. I need you to learn them inside out and back to front, and it will really help you over lots of the topics that we're going to be doing in accounting for senior cycle. Long-term liabilities, things that I owe, but I'm going to pay them back in more than 1 year. So a long-term loan or a debenture, which is also a loan, a fixed interest loan. So they would be our 2 long-term liabilities. Then capital and reserves, which is the money that the club owes the, I suppose, people that invested in it. Okay, so we've got our share capital, we've got share premium, we've got revaluation reserve, and we've got provision for depreciation. So all provisions, all reserves, they go down in the capital and reserve section, and we would include those there. We don't have any of those happening at ordinary level club, but I just want you to have the full list. So first job, guys, need you to learn these really, really well. I suggest have a flashcard for assets with all of this just flash with assets written on the front and all of this written on the back. Have a flashcard for liabilities with just liabilities written on the front and all of this written on the back. Ideally, add a little visual as well beside each one because that's our dual coding. That makes you twice as likely to remember it, twice as easy. Little picture doesn't have to be very good. Put a little building there. Put a little piece of stock there. Little bank account, something like that. So just little visuals to help you which will really will help you. Okay, so number 1, learn your assets and liabilities. Be brilliant at that. Now we're going to do our first step for doing the statement of accumulated fund, which is 20 marks. Identify your assets at the start of the year. Identify your liabilities at the start of the year. Know your lists. So let's go to our question. So the boathouse, it's an asset, I own it. The equipment, it's an asset, I own it. Investments, financial asset. That's my money, I own it, I've invested it, and I'm going to make investment interest income out of it. My land, my club owns that. My stock in the bar, so my drinks, my crisps, all that good stuff. I own it and it's an asset. My subscriptions prepaid. Okay, so these are my expenses prepaid, or sorry, my income prepaid. That's going to be a liability, so put an L over that one. Creditors, liability, put an L over that one. Cash in hand, asset, put an A over that one. So put A and L over each of these and we'll have our list of assets and liabilities at the start of the year, and we are good to go. So you're going to create your little schedule here, statement of accumulated fund at the 1st of the 1st, 2021, and then we're going to put in our assets. Okay, and we're literally listing them out. Okay, so the boathouse, 680,000. We have the equipment. Oops. Equipment, 36,000. We've got investments, 60,000. We've got land, 200,000. So I'm literally working down through my list, bar stock. I've got A's over my asset and I'm just entering them there. 10,100, and I've got cash, 3,200. Just a point to note on the cash, they're giving us the cash number up there. If they ever left it out, they also give us that same cash number down here at the start of the receipts and payments account. So always check that you have it up there, and if you don't, it's down here and we pop that in. So our cash at the start of the year. So we're going to then list our liabilities at the start of the year, and guys, do all your calculator work at the end. So do all your entering first when you're in the zone, do all your calculator work together. It's the cleverest way to be fast and accurate. So bar creditors are 4,200, and we've got subscriptions prepaid, which is income prepaid, just for your reference, 2,100. And remember, when we learn our list of liabilities over here, when you learn your 4, income prepaid is a liability, subscriptions are income, that's how we know it's a liability. So please take the time to get really good at those lists. It is the trick to being brilliant and fast and accurate in accounting. So put in the work now, please, at the start, and get really good at knowing your lists of assets and liabilities, and it will stand to you so much. Put in your line here. So draw a line under your assets, subtotal them into column 2. Draw a line under your liabilities, subtotal them into column 2. And then we have our accumulated fund at the start of the year. So it's kind of another word for capital at the start of the year as well. We use slightly different language for club accounts because they're not for profit, but you'll be doing very similar things to this, guys, when you're doing for profit organizations. So the more you know this and the better you know this, the more it's going to stand to you at the end of the day. So our statement of accumulated fund, 983,000. You've got 20 marks for that. You get 2 to 3 marks for each one of these that you enter, guys. Really handy marks. We're all aiming for full marks on statement of accumulated fund at the start of the year. Okay, so story of our assets and liabilities at the start of the year. All the information is at the top of the question. Okay, the start of the year section. Now we're moving on to do the bar trading account. So again, as I said to you before, when we're doing the bar trading account, we're just trying to calculate the bar profit for this side business of the boating club. So in other questions, it might be a shop trading account, but they're kind of side businesses, and we got to just calculate the profit number, and that goes into the next step, which is our income and expenditure account. Number 1, learn the layout. You guys all know this layout. We did it for junior cert. Sales, less cost of sales, opening stock plus purchases minus closing stock, giving us our bar profit. We have to do a little adjustment on the purchases, which we'll do as we get to it. And it's as simple as that. So we'll actually just start on this, and I'll do our little adjustment in purchases when we get to it. So we have to find our bar sales number, excuse me. Bar sales 46,000. Into column 2. And then our heading, less cost of sales. We start with our opening stock. Opening stock will be up here at the start of the year because opening stock is your stock on the first day of the year. 10,100. Plus purchases. And we have to do an adjustment for purchases. So I'm linking it there to adjustment 1. And we're going to do a little adjustment for the purchases number here. So we're going to have I'm over here now in this little right section over here now. We're going to have bar purchases. So we're going to have the number from the income and expenditure account here. Bar purchases, 24,000. We will also have our bar creditors number at the start of the year. So creditors are people that we owe money to. And we have a rule around things that are due and things that are prepaid in accounting. It's the next big set of learning that I'm giving you. I want you to learn this as well as knowing your assets and liabilities. We need to know our rule for doing adjustments. We minus anything that's due at the start of the year. We plus anything that's due at the end of the year. On the top of your page where you're doing your adjustments, I want you to write this every single time. Even when you're brilliant, I want you to write it because as you get tired, it's really helpful to give your working memory a break and just refer to this to fill in this little bit. So we write minus due at the start, plus due at the end. The rule for prepaid means that is the opposite for due. So if you learn this first one and write it, then we're doing the opposite for prepaid. We plus prepaid at the start of the year, minus prepaid at the end of the year. So due at the start is the things that I owe at the start of the year. And creditors are the people, bar creditors are the people relating to the bar that I owe money to. So bar creditors, 4,200. So we're going to do our minus due at the start of the year for bar creditors, 4,200. Yeah. And then at the end of the year, we've got more creditors down here. See them? So we owe them at the end of the year and we're plussing them on because they are I owe them that money. It's part of our cost of the year. So I must add it on. So I'm going to do a plus due at the end of the year. And this ties a little bit to the theory question that the guys have given us. So our income and expenditure account should have, let me just put this in first. 3,100. Your income and expenditure account should have the amount, your cost for the year, regardless of whether you've paid it or not. So we paid 24 grand this year. That's our receipts and payments number. But 4,200 of that belonged to last year because it was owed at the start of the year. So I have to take that off because it belongs to last year. And then I have to add on the 3,100 because that belongs to this year, even if I haven't paid it. So income and expenditure is the amount of money that the cost that relates to purchases this year, regardless of whether it's paid or not. Whereas receipts and payments has just the paid number. They're both important, but they're used for different things. So 22,900 is our number for purchases. We put in the adjusted number. So opening stock plus purchases, we're going to add those up, get our cost of goods available for sale. Please get into the very excellent habit of drawing a line every time you do sum in accounting. It makes your work neater and makes you much less likely to make a mistake. Less closing stock. So closing stock is always minus in a trading account. That's our stock at the end of the year. It's our closing stock, so it's going to be in the end of your section. 6,400. We haven't sold it. The reason we're minusing it is because we haven't sold it. It's still with us. And this is the cost of the goods that were sold that we're calculating here. We haven't sold our closing stock. It's still inside the counter of our bar. So we need to leave that or we have to minus that off our number, making our number smaller. So now we have our bar profit. 19,400. And please get into the excellent habit of putting that bar profit straight into your income and expenditure account. It's a profit, so it's going to go into the income section, because that way you won't forget to put it in. So that's a really little clever habit. Once you've done your bar trading account, you've got your 8 marks. Let's put that profit number in here, because sometimes it's easy to forget because we get caught up in doing adjustments. So we're done. Statement of accumulated fund, bar trading account, all done, nice and easy. Learn your layouts, guys. Practice your layouts. It's most important that you know your layouts. You can worry about doing loads of questions. For sure, that will make you better. But if you don't know your layout, you are stuck and you cannot progress. So please be good at doing your layouts. Now we're going to do the rest of our adjustments. Our little steps for doing our adjustments here. Write your rule for due and prepaid. Every single time I'm doing accounting with a long time, guys, and I will still write it every single time because it helps me so much when my brain gets tired. Okay, so we're going to calculate competition and lotto profit. We're going to calculate depreciation and we're going to be do all the adjustments for all the dues and prepaids. So how do we approach this? Students often ask me this, that don't really know where to start or where to go. So I will look up the top and see if there's any dues or prepaids. There's definitely subscriptions prepaid, so I'm going to do that one first. If there was 3 more of those, I'd do those then next. So I'll do anything that's due or prepaid at the start of the year first. Then I'll go down here and I'll do anything due or prepaid at the end of the year. So I can see there's insurance there, so we'll do that one next. Then I'll do any profit. So we've got the lotto receipts and the lotto prizes. So we do that one next. So I do any of the profits next. And then I'll do the depreciation last. So dues and prepaids first. Look for your profits second. So there'll often be a lotto. There'll be a lotto, or there'll be some sort of a prize giving thing, a competition or something. You have to calculate the profit and put in the profit. And then I do depreciation last. And that way, if you do it the same way every time, you won't forget anything. So let's make a start with our subscription. So you'll have a little section for workings. Mine is over here. And we're going to do our little we're going to do our little adjustments. So subscriptions, you go into receipts and payments and find the big number. So this is the subscriptions we received during the year. So we got 64,200 during the year. And then we're going to see, was there due or prepaid at the start? We've got subscriptions prepaid 2,100. So prepaid at the start over here in our rule is plus. So it's going to be plus prepaid start of the year, 2,100. Then down the end of the year, anything happening? Yes, we've got prepaid at the end of the year. So it's going to be minus prepaid at the end of the year. And that is 3,600. Okay. So we've got a nice number for our subscriptions. Oh, never put the minus in. It's very easy to make mistakes, guys. So we really have to be switched on when we're doing our questions. So we've got our subscriptions prepaid number there. Then we've got our insurance. We're going to do insurance next because I can see I had insurance prepaids going on here. So insurance 4,800. So this is my paid amount. You always start with your paid or your received amount. 4,800. We had nothing at the start of the year, if you remember, but we have something going on at the end of the year. Insurance prepaid at the end of the year. So prepaid 3112 is going to be minus. So we're going to have minus prepaid at the end of the year, and it was 1,200. Oops. Sorry. So we'll have an insurance number of 3,600 going into our income and expenditure. You will notice, guys, that I'm making them pink. I use a pink highlighter always for every chapter in this book and every question in your Leaving Cert. If once we calculate the P&L number, I highlight it pink. It's called income and expenditure here, but I stick with the rule that P for pink, P for P&L. I use a pink highlighter for those. It makes things really fast for us when we're filling out our schedules in the end. And speed is really important in accounting. Next one we're doing, so we've done all our dues and prepaids. There's nothing else there with due or prepaid on it. Next one we're going to do is our calculating profits. So we have the lotto profit here. So we're putting in the receipts. So this is all the money that we got from people who played lotto for our club. You'll all be familiar with this in your own clubs. We all have little lottos and we all buy tickets every week. And then they pay out their prizes. So these are their prizes. They paid out 25 grand of prizes. 25 grand. So they made a profit on their lotto of 42 minus 25 of 17 grand. Very nice. Very worthwhile way of raising money for this club. They did very well. So now we've done our adjustments. We've done our lotto profit. And now we're doing our depreciation. So down here, they have to tell us how to do depreciation. They must give us the instructions and then we must follow them. Depreciate the boathouse by 2% of cost. That is easy. Our boathouse is 680,000. So it's going to be 680,000 and 2%. So divided by 100 and multiplied by 2. That's our number, 13,600. Then if we look at our equipment instruction is the equipment held on the last day of the year is going to be depreciated by 20%. So watch for equipment. So when you're scanning down through your receipts and payments, check, did we sell any equipment? No, we did not. Did we buy any equipment? Yes, we did. We bought 4 grand's worth of equipment. So I'm going to start with my equipment at the start of the year. So I'm going to have our first equipment. We had 36,000 in our assets at the start of the year. And then we got new equipment of 4,000. Okay, so we got a total equipment number of 40,000. Okay, so 36 plus 4 was 40,000. And then we're calculating our depreciation at 20%. Okay, so it's going to be 20% of this number. So it's going to be equal to 40,000 divided by 100 and multiplied by 20. So that gets us 8,000 for our equipment. Okay, that is all our adjustments done, guys. So now we're on to the good stuff, the fun stuff where we get all our marks. We're doing our entering. And again, people would say to me, how do we know that we're not going to miss anything? So the best way to do it is I start here on the top of my receipts and payments. Most of my income will come from here. Most of my expenditure will come from the payment side. I must always enter my adjusted number when I'm entering, and I mustn't forget depreciation. Okay, so when we're doing our income and expenditure account, go down through the receipts, fill in the income items, put in the adjusted number where we have an adjusted number. If not, we put in the number from the receipts and payments. Go down through your payments, put in the adjusted number if there is one, and if not, put in the number in the receipts and payments account. Do not forget depreciation and do not forget bar profit. Okay, so we won't forget bar profit. I'm actually going to add that to my list here if I don't have it in there already, to be sure to enter it. No, I'm going to put it up here. Learn your layout, do your adjustments, and I'm going to just put it in here at the end. Enter bar profit straight into your income and expenditure account so you don't forget, because I do that all the time so I don't forget. Because after you've done your adjustments, you could forget. We don't want to lose any, we don't want to leave any marks behind. Okay, so cash is an asset. It doesn't go into income and expenditure. Closing stock debtors, bank and cash, it's a current asset. We will not be putting that into income and expenditure. Investment interest, that is income, and income goes into income and expenditure. So we're popping that in. 1200. No adjustment, putting the number in straight from here. Bar sales, we've put in our bar profit, so we don't need to put that in. Club lotto. Okay, so we're going to put in the club lotto profit number. And that was our adjustment number 5 that we did over here. So I'm linking it to my adjustment. So if I've made a mistake, the examiner can check and I will get some marks for that. If I've made a mistake, we won't make mistakes. Subscriptions is next. Adjustment number 2. We're taking the subscriptions number that we calculated, the bottom final number, 62,700. Do not use the number from income and from receipts and payments. It's not the correct number. It doesn't take into account the dues and prepaids. And that's the theory question that we have at the end to answer. Annual sponsorship. We might have gotten sponsorship off the local SuperValu or the local Lidl or Aldi or the local transport company, any of those. So again, guys, do all your entering first, do all your calculator work at the end. That is all the income. So we go down there, we grab all the income. Now we're going to the expenditure section and we're going to go down through here. The lotto prizes, we're not using that now because we've put in the profit number. The bar purchases, we're not using that one because we've put in the bar profit. General expenses, putting in that one. And there was no adjustments to general expenses in this question. There often is. So we can take the number straight from here, 26,200. Insurance. So again, we have an adjustment going on with insurance. So go over here, it's adjustment number 3. So we're going to just write that here beside it. And we're going to bring in our adjusted number. So always the adjusted number, because that is the number for the full year. And that's what has to go into income and expenditure. Purchase of equipment does not go in. Equipment is an asset on our list of fixed assets. So we don't put equipment in here. We'll be putting the depreciation on that equipment. The closing cash balance does not go in here because cash is an asset. So it's only income and expenditure that goes in here. Not assets, not liabilities. And once you get that rule of thumb clear in your head, you will not go wrong. Now we've got our 2 depreciations. So don't forget depreciation. Depreciation boathouse. And, oops. Here. And depreciation equipment. 8,000. Then we have them all. So we're just doing your calculator work. Please get good at your calculator work. These are my asks for you now, okay? So get a big calculator, buy a big calculator, lay it flat on your workstation to the right of your copy. Get used to typing your numbers without lifting the calculator. It will speed you up significantly. And once you get good at it, you'll get very good at it. It's a bit clunky and chunky at the start, but it's worth the practice. Enter all your numbers, total into column 2. Enter all your numbers into the calculator, total into column 2. So we've got our income minus our expenditure. Please put brackets around your minuses. I haven't fixed my formatting here now to look like that, but I want you to put brackets around your minuses. It helps your brain to remember that they're minus and it will help you to not make mistakes. So we're calling this, we do not call it profit, we call it excess income over expenditure. It's a not-for-profit organization, so that's why we're not allowed to call it profit. So please call it excess income over expenditure. Again, we're finished with this number now, so we're going to draw our 2 lines under it. So please make sure to draw your 2 lines under it. And that, guys, is your income and expenditure account. That is 34 marks. And your bar trading account, another 8. Okay, so you'll do really well in this question with a little bit of practice. Very, very nice. We're on to the last step on this now, guys, which is our balance sheet. So, again, when it comes to balance sheet, just know your layout. Practice, practice, practice. So the section that we did up here at the very start, where you get really good at knowing your assets, really good at knowing your liabilities, and now we're going to get really, really good at knowing our layouts. Okay? Every student in the world gets confused between expenses prepaid and income due and where do they go. So learn your lists, make a flashcard, learn them, be brilliant at it. You will so thank me, and it will make your accounting life so much more pleasant and enjoyable. Okay, so we're just going to do our little balance sheet here now, and we're entering all our numbers. We have very little to do adjustment wise here. It's just knowing your layout is key. Okay, so we're going to start again with our assets up the top here. We've got the boathouse, the equipment, and the land. Our fixed assets, the things that I own, I'm going to own them for a long time. Boathouse, equipment, land. Okay, so the value of my boathouse, 680,000, hasn't changed since the start of the question. Our equipment, remember over here, we had 36 at the start and we bought 4, so the total number is going to be 40. So 40,000. And the land, no change from the start, 200,000. Our accumulated depreciation, again, guys, brackets around your accumulated depreciation. It's always minus. So our boathouse was 13,600 and our equipment was 8,000 in your income and expenditure account. So you can just pull for here, for this particular question, you can just get those numbers there from our working and our adjustment. No depreciation on land. We don't depreciate land because land doesn't tend to lose value. So it's never really depreciated land. And you'll know that from our depreciation chapters that we've done. Okay, so now we're going to just tidy up this section and do our little summaries. So we're going to add up the cost, we're going to add up the accumulated depreciation, and we're drawing 2 lines under them because we're finished with them. We're not going to be using them anymore. The net book value column, we're subtotaling that, but we are going to use that number further down, so we don't draw the 2 lines under that. So your fixed asset section looks nice and neat and tidy, looking good. Next one, financial assets. Okay, so you'll remember we had an investment early on there at the start of the question, an investment of 60,000. So we've put 60,000 into something, into maybe a bank investment or something like that, and we'll be getting a nice return on that, which will be income. That's our financial assets. Then we have our current assets. And again, just learn them, know them so well. Closing stock, debtors, cash, bank. You could have each of those. Expenses prepaid, income due. Now you won't be writing those. You'll be looking for them and finding them, but I'm just putting down my list now, and then I'm going to find my numbers. So closing stock, bar stock, end of the year, 6,400. There was no debtors, right? So I'm just putting a 0 in for that. My closing cash number. So we finished the month with 90,600, which is pretty impressive because you will remember we only started the year, we started the month with only 3 grand in the bank. So we had a big month getting in all our subscriptions, which is great. So closing stock, debtors, cash and bank, expenses prepaid and income due. So I care only about the end of the year. Okay, so this is the balance sheet, is the story of our company at the end of the year. It's a picture of it. What did I owe on that last day of the year? Was there anything? Expenses prepaid. Yes. Insurance prepaid. Okay. So we're going to call this guy here insurance prepaid. That is our expenses prepaid number, and that goes in there. 1200. And that's all we've got. There is no income due on this one. The subscriptions that we have are prepaid, so they're going to go down below. So please learn that list, guys. It's invaluable to you, really invaluable to you. Now, I did the subtotaling there because I'm on the spreadsheet. I shouldn't have really, because we do all our calculator work at the end. Next section, current liabilities. This is often known as creditors due. Creditors due in more than 1 year. We'll call it current liabilities here for the moment. Bank overdraft, we didn't have any. Creditors, we had our bar creditors. So again, I know my list so well. So creditors, bank overdraft, expenses due, and income prepaid. So we don't have any expenses due down here, but we do have subscriptions prepaid, which is income prepaid. And I put in a little typo on my creditors number there. Let me just fix that. And 3,600 is my subscriptions prepaid number. Okay, so I am going to do my calculator work here now. So I'm adding up my current assets, I'm adding up my current liabilities, and then my next heading down here in every balance sheet is working capital. And I always put beside it CA minus CL. Okay, practice that. It's your current assets minus your current liabilities. So 98,200 minus the 6,700. Put brackets around that, please, in yours. 91,500. That's our working capital. That's a calculation. You must learn it, you must know it. Then we have our total net assets, or sometimes it can be called net worth. You need to use one of those. And that's calculated as our net book value number up the top plus our financial assets, plus our working capital. It's the three of those all added together. So the 91,500 plus the 60 plus the net book value number. We're adding the three of those together and we are getting our total net assets number. That is the top half of our balance sheet done and dusted. Okay, so I urge you to just learn this layout. You're going to use it in so many. You're going to use it in club, service, farm, long question one, like so many. Know it really well. It will really help you. Then we're doing the bottom half, the financed by section of our balance sheet. So what goes in here is our capital and reserves and any long-term loans. There's no long-term loans today for us, so we're just going to be putting in our accumulated fund, which we calculated at the start of the year, and then we're going to be adding on our excess income over expenditure. So the profit, if it was a business, we'd be saying it was the profit that we made during the year. So you calculated these numbers. This one came from section A, the accumulated fund. So the 983,000 came from section A that we did. And then we calculated the excess income over expenditure when we did the income and expenditure account earlier. That's the only two things that we have going in there. In other sections of the course, guys, we'll have a few more bits going in there, and at higher level, we'll have a few more bits as well. But that is all we got in this one. So we've got 149,000. Oh, sorry, we've got 1,049,900 as our total there, and we draw two lines under it. So I suppose just to kind of have a little discussion around this guy, just so that I want to get it on the one page here for us. This is a balance sheet. We call it a balance sheet. It is made up of the balance BDs in all of the T accounts for each of these assets and liabilities. The balance sheet must balance. So the top half of the balance sheet, which is quite long, and is here you'll see it adding up to 104,900, must equal the bottom half if it's correct. So the top half, the 104,900, equals the bottom half, 104,900. And what balance sheets tell us, and again, I would like you to kind of get good at this. It's like a picture of our club on the last day of the year. Okay, and it tells us everything that I own up here, and down here where I got the money to actually buy all of this stuff up here. That's pretty much what it's telling you. So the top half is like all the things that I own, and then the bottom half is where did I get the money to buy all of that. So if we look at this club, they've got a total net worth of 104,900, and it's mainly made up of their boathouse equipment and land. That's the most of it. That's nearly 900 of it. They also have 60,000 of investments. And then we have a working capital number, which is the day-to-day, the working money, the day-to-day money coming in and money coming out of the club, of 91,000. So the main net worth of the club is its fixed assets, then financial assets, then we've got the working capital. So that is where the money that was used to finance this club has been spent. And then down in the bottom half, it tells us where did we get, or how is it financed? Where is that finance coming from? So we've got the capital that went in to buy all of the assets and liabilities at the start of the year. And then we have any extra money that they made during the year. So this is where they got their money from to kind of perform to buy all of the stuff that they own to run this club. And that's what it tells us. And it's the same for a business. So a balance sheet must balance. Okay, top and the bottom will be equal. Just to go back up to this one, income and expenditure or profit and loss, which we'd be doing if it wasn't a club, that is the story of our company on the last year of the year. No, it's the story of our company for the 12 months of the year. So each number in there is 12 months. It's the 12 months profit. It's the 12 months investment income. It's the profit on the lotto for 12 months. It's 12 months worth of script subscriptions. So this is the story of our company for the 12 months of the year. A balance sheet is a picture of your company on the last day of the year. Okay, so I need to actually change the way I worded this. Your balance sheet is it's on balance sheet on the 31st because it's the picture of your company on the 31st of the 12th. And this is the income and expenditure for the year. So they're two different things. And it's nice if you can understand that as you're going along. And that's it. So for doing our balance sheet, you'll have gotten 30 marks. Okay, and all of it is just knowing your layout. There was no calculations, very little going on. Last thing to draw your attention to, we have only 3 possible minus areas in your balance sheet. Okay, so I'll just put these back to normal. We're going 3 possible minus areas. Depreciation is minus. It's current assets minus current liabilities. That's your second minus. And in other topics, you might have a minus down here around drawings and things like that. We don't have that here at the moment. Okay, so there's only 3 possible minus areas. Everything else in your balance sheet is plus. So just as you're practicing your layouts, that's a little tip to kind of help you to get really good at those as well. All right, and that is it. Thank you very much.